once notice is given. There's no need for a search warrant. However, at that point in time, while a lawful examination of the records was being conducted, our Officer Sergeant Haywood, with a search warrant pursuant to an investigation, was investigating, entered the premises and conducted a search, which pursuant to the search warrant would have been lawful. While there was a concurrent examination of the books, Sergeant Haywood continued on 5 separate occasions on the 10th, 11th, 12th, 15th, and 17th to use the same search warrant to enter the premises on the basis that this search warrant allowed him unlimited access to the premises, although he had no control of the premises. This was a judicial review claim brought against the Commissioner of Police, naming Sergeant Haywood as the person who conducted this act of mala fides against my client. The court has ruled that the search was conducted lawfully on the 8th of October pursuant to the search warrant, but every other search was illegal. And the judge went as far as to say, that's Justice Quinlan, that the conduct of the police officer demonstrated mala fides. Not only did they conduct a search, they, without search warrant, went to my client's home and his father's home, never producing a search warrant, and searched those premises, having no basis for search of those premises. The court, in a very important decision, has ruled that every search that was conducted after the lawful search, the state is going to be paying the sum of $100,000 for each search. That is 5 searches, the 10th, 11th, 12th, 15th, and 17th, $100,000 for each search. What that does, it sends a very strong message about wrongdoing on the part of the police. What is surprising to me, it is not unusual for police to defend matters, but it goes beyond belief to think that any police officer would use a search warrant on different occasions, lose control of the premises, and repeat it in a complete abusive process, which is not only malicious, but completely fraught with mala fides. And what happens in a case like this, apart from a very strong message being sent, what it does, it reminds us of the duties and responsibilities of the police, how they have to act in accordance with the law. And if they fail to act in accordance with the law, then people have to seek recourse of the courts. We're fortunate that we have vigilant, strong, independent courts, but at the same time, you end up in a situation where not everyone can afford to seek legal redress of the courts. There are many ordinary citizens that face the onslaught of police with improper motives who exercise their conduct, whether it's arrest, search, detention, improperly. And many of these people have no recourse. They have to accept it, they have to take it. So when judgments like this come out, this is a judgment that not only guides the police service in the course of their conduct, but it also guides the average citizen as to what your rights are, what the police can and cannot do. What is interesting about this matter, 2 searches going on, 2 police activities going on at the same time. The lawful investigation of the books by ASP Spence, which the judge commented was professional, lawful. I was involved in those exercises, the searches, completely professional. And on the other hand, you have Sergeant Haywood, who thought he was Yosemite Sam, running around with impunity to the law, and search after search. And it is even surprising to me what I thought was trite law, that the police would defend this rigorously and spend precious judicial time. The court's message of $100,000 for each day, that's $500,000 that the TTPS has to pay because of the course of conduct of this officer, sends a very strong message. And we have to understand that in a time where the image of the police service is very fragile, we turn to the courts to ensure that there's always justice and equity. Too many times there's abuse by the police and people have no recourse. Even in the case of my client, we had to subject ourselves to 5 searches that we knew was illegal. We complained about it but you can't do anything at the time. So when the police are abusing their process, you have no choice but to take it and hope you go for legal redress. And that's why it is important that the system that governs the police and the hierarchy of the police service operate within the confines of the law and ensure all the officers operate that way. Otherwise, you're going to have rogue police officers that bring the police into disrepute. And then on the other hand, you have people like Spence, who are the decent police officers that try to uphold the law, but they can do only so much and no more. But one bad apple, one Yosemite Sam, destroys the whole image of the police service. And that's why the country loses faith in the police service. And it is the duty of any commissioner of police to rigorously ensure that all officers operate in accordance to the law.
Mr. Lalla, we see just a week ago your client.
Yes.
I mean, how long does this look? Because now you're now saying that this 2022 matter is now reaping benefits to your client, especially giving him that ability to clear his name because he was placed in that situation.
Yeah, and exactly this judgment will also demonstrate in 2022 our books and records were open. It has always been open. According to the Firearms Act, we have to make it available, keep proper records, which we have done, which we have explained to the police and we've cooperated. But messages go out that my client is being looked for, he's a suspect, whether it's mischief or not. This judgment now demonstrates quite clearly our level of cooperation, but it's damage to reputation. When you're hauled before the police as a suspect, the damage is irreparable to your reputation. And my client continues to cooperate. He is a partner with the police because a lot of his business is involved with national security agencies. But at the same time, you can't abuse it and you can't take advantage of the rights of citizens and people who are your stakeholders.
At this time, what has the state tried to do?
Well, if the state tries to appeal, it would be foolish, but we see so many judgments where it is appealed for the sake of appealing, costing the taxpayers money. So many judgments go to the Privy Council, all overturned, costing the taxpayers money. It's not only about appealing matters for the sake of appealing it. Look, is there merit? How do we fix the system and move on? How do we ensure that the average citizen is protected by a judgment like this? This is not about casting blame on anybody. This is about fixing it. We want a police service that works. We don't want a police service that every Monday morning have to go to court because some officer is acting rogue. It has to be done in a different mindset, not the mindset of everybody passing the buck. That's why we fail as a country.
See this now as a sitting precedent for people who...
This is a very important precedent. There was no local judgment, no Caribbean judgment that dealt with this particular point of this abuse of a search warrant. So it is a precedent for the region, and it's a very important judgment. And it's important not only to my client, but every citizen who has ever been the victim of an illegal search or illegal search warrant or abuse of process by the police. These not only guide the police, but it guides your average citizen as to what your rights are. So it's beyond my client. It's about the average citizen who interacts with the police.
So just coming back into the current matter with your clients, have you also cooperated with police on this time?
We have cooperated to the best of our extent. We have provided all the information as we do pursuant to the firearm of all our records. We are not a suspect. We're not under investigation. We have a duty which we have complied with in terms of providing all that we can. We have nothing further to say to the police. All we can do is provide our books, our records. There's been full transparency and compliance. We are investigated or audited rather on a regular basis. The police can walk in any day, anytime, and our books are always transparent. So we have nothing to fear in terms of our compliance and our transparency. Good? So you'll have to try to find a 15-second soundbite out of that. But I'll give you plenty to work.